Senate President Godswill Akpabio says the National Assembly is not a rubber stamp. We'll be getting details of why he said so. And President Bola Tinubu is expected to address the nation in an October 1 Independence television address. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimale in Abuja. So much stops that we have tonight on the program. And so a lot to push out. So sit around, everyone, and let's get talking. We begin by letting you know that first thing tomorrow morning, President Bola Tinubu will make a nationwide broadcast, October 1 Independence Day address to the nation by 7 a.m., which is going to be a broadcast for everyone to listen to issues or policies and or whatnot might be coming out of it. And according to the presidency, that address is part of activities to commemorate the 64th independence anniversary of the nation. We're touching on how this nation is being run, whether or not we are on the right track. Yesterday, we had a conversation, albeit incomplete, and so I told the APC spokesperson to come back. But we'll be hearing from the PDP tonight. Segun Showomi will be joining us. I'll be dissecting the state of the nation. Are we on the right track? We'll be getting a balanced conversation. Just stick around with me, everyone. But first, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
President Bola Tinubu has sworn in Justice Kekere-Ekun as the Chief Justice of Nigeria. The ceremony, which took place at the Council Chamber of the State House, Abuja, had in attendance Vice President Kashim Shettima, Senate President Godswill Akpabio, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, and some ministers. The swearing-in of Justice Kekere-Ekun as Substantive Chief Justice of Nigeria followed a confirmation by the Nigerian Senate last week. Justice Peter Lifu of the Federal High Court Abuja has topped the Independent National Electoral Commission from releasing voters registered to the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission for the purpose of conducting the October 5, 2024 local government elections in the state. The court also barred the Inspector General of Police and the Department of State Services from providing security. Justice Lifu issued the order against INEC while delivering judgment in a suit brought before him by the All Progressives Congress. The Action People's Party has condemned the order of the Federal High Court in Abuja, which barred the Independent National Electoral Commission from releasing voters registered for the conduct of local government elections in Rivers State. The national chairman of the party, Uche Nadi, at an emergency media briefing in Port Harcourt, described the order by Justice Lifu as inconsistent and a threat to democracy. He reiterated the commitment of the party to ensuring that the local government election in Rivers State holds as scheduled on the 5th of October 2024. The Enugu State Governor, Mr. Peter Mba, has called on local government chairmen to focus on providing basic amenities for rural communities where they govern to improve the standard of living of their residents. He was speaking at the swearing-in ceremony of the 17 local government chairmen and their deputies at the Government House in Enugu State. Ahead of the October 19 local government election in Kaduna State, the governor, Senator Obasani, has flagged off the campaign of the All Progressives Congress with optimism that his party will emerge victorious during the election due to the achievement of his administration. At the campaign flag-off held at the Murtala Mohammed Square in Kaduna State, Governor Sani promised a free and fair process. He also declared the opposition People's Democratic Party as dead in Kaduna State due to the caliber of its members who have left the party.
Thank you so much, everyone. You've been served with your political roundup stories. Senate President Godswill Akpabio says the nation or the National Assembly is not a rubber stamp and will not fail in carrying out its constitutional responsibility. He stated this in an interview with State House correspondents shortly after President Bola Tinubu sworn in Justice Kekere-Ekun as a substantive Chief Justice of Nigeria. Take a listen to the Senate President.
Like the President said, he gives the girl child the inspiration, regarding them as role models with Aluma Mokhtar, that yes, indeed, even if you're a girl and you work very hard, you can get to the zenith of any profession that you choose. And then the President commended the National Assembly. It's our job to ensure that we take actions that will stabilize the polity. We are not a rubber stamp. We make sure we take actions that will stabilize the polity. In every respect, she's very highly qualified, and already she was sworn in as acting Chief Justice of Nigeria. And if you look at their progression and their succession in the Supreme Court, she's in the right position.
As the Senate President Godswill Akpabio was saying, that the National Assembly will continue to take actions that will stabilize the polity. So let's get straight into our conversation for tonight, everyone. Are you ready, everyone? Because it's some serious conversation about the way and manner our country is being run. First and foremost, let me get you into some PDP politics, especially in Rivers State. Governor Siminalayi Fubara of Rivers State has responded to his predecessor, Nyesom Wike, the Minister of FCT, saying it is only empty containers that make noise. Well, the governor's latest response to Mr. Wike, the FCT, is in response to the minister's claim that he initiated a multi-billion ring road project in Rivers when he was the governor of the state, and also says he's bigger than all those supporting the governor's camp. Mr. Wike made the remarks on Saturday at a reception organized in his honor by the Rivers Ijaw People's Congress. Well, Governor Fubara responded to him on Sunday at a church service. First and foremost, let me allow you the first man that shot the server, Minister Wike. And you're now listening again to Governor Fubara. First, Minister Wike.
Whatever you think that they are fighting me, they're not fighting me. I'm too big. I'm too big. If you don't recognize somebody who's bigger than you, then you know you're sick. I'm far. All of them put together, they cannot stand it. When people said they will put on here, I told them, if you come here and put on, how did you enter a cold place? Not so.
I have been saying it and I continue to say it. The dean doesn't need introduction, but the fact that he's in the service, he's sitting as the primate we are saying. That's the truth. But you see, anybody that is making noise for recognition is a sign that you have lost it. When you make noise, let me tell you, for those people who have cars, when you get to your house, there's a way you horn. Your children will know, daddy, not daddy horn. If you don't have a car, there's a way you walk. So that one, daddy footstep. But if you have to enter your house and say, don't you know I'm your daddy? Then you have a problem. By the special grace of God, I don't need introduction. I have the name and I am the one standing here.
All right. So you heard both sides. But where or when will all of these political field in the state be resolved? It has a major issue to do. Local government elections are coming. There are different dimensions to all of that. At the national level, it does have its own implication for the party and governance in the state. Let's speak with one man that was prostrating to a former governor of Ekiti State today in a social media post. Segun Showumi is a former governorship aspirant in Ogun State and the chieftain of the People's Democratic Party. Thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Showumi. You have to be cheeky about it, right?
Oh, but I saw you prostrating to former Governor Fayose today in the social media post, but I really don't understand what that meant.
Okay, thank you, Showumi. You see, our party, the PDP, has been around since 1998. And we have had some really good times, at least as a party, where we would always say any problem that comes, we can do it like a family affair. Now, what I am sensing is that this challenge is dragging on for too long. It would have been easier if all of them who are angry would say they are out. Then you can just draw the line and know that at least some people have left the party and gone somewhere else. But once they are in the party and creating all these kinds of energies around the party, it doesn't make sense not to plead with them for the good of the entire country and the politics and the party. Because, you see, at the heart of the destabilization of the main opposition party is the risk that this democracy will begin to morph around becoming almost like a one-party state. There are 4 things that politicians think about most of the time. Only a few of them have what it takes to be statesmen who will sit through a difficult and tedious and long-drawn political destabilization within the party that is beginning to affect the numbers. And then after Edo, with due respect to anybody who has commented on Edo, there is nowhere in the world you would take the personality of Asue Godalo, our candidate, his CV and the kinds of things and how he's organized himself to and say, this is your presidential material. Even in America, they will consider that that's good material. Now, if you look at Obaseki, and you know Obaseki is a very tough cookie. So if Obaseki, Asue Godalo, everything considered, with all of the suffering in the country, we're still able to go to an election and we're sort of screaming and saying that we were rigged. But those numbers where the rigging took place, they took place from places where our own long-standing territorial commanders, the Dan Obis of this world and co, would have mitigated those numbers. I think that if you are not too stupid and too arrogant, it doesn't matter if you go and beg people that, can't you guys just take it easy with yourselves? Can't we just come back together for the sake of the country? Can you not even remember all of the good times, especially those of you that have had positions, have shared in this party? What is too big to give for you to step back a little bit and begin to speak to yourself to come together?
Is that what you were telling him?
Yes, and I was challenging him. I was saying to him, all of these years that I've been holding the reign since 98, what have I really gotten from the party? What position? What? But you guys, I'm here begging you that we may save not just the party, but we may also stabilize this democracy. Why? Because at the beginning of this democracy, election come, election go, everybody, including the opposition, were a little bit hopeful. We have gotten into the APC years, and every election tackle looks like hopelessness. Why? Hopelessness in the sense that it seems to be that suddenly INEC is not capable of having integrity in the election. Suddenly technology is not working. Former President Jonathan even alluded to that. Suddenly things are beginning to appear as if it doesn't make logical sense for you to say people will be suffering, carrying the weight of exponential poverty, dealing with the issues of fuel, the issues of inflation, food inflation, and just misery, and you say that either you're procuring or you are manipulating, but something doesn't feel right. And it was on those bases that I was trying to tell him, pull back.
And I will ask you, it does look like your party is looking like an ice cream kept in the freezer for a long time, all of a sudden exposed to the sun and is melting away. The center is not just holding. Nothing seems to be working. Administratively at the center, your party is falling apart like a pack of cards. When you go to
not quite so.
Just a moment, Mr. Showumi, you know how your party will boast of the structure that it had, that if everything went wrong or goes wrong, there is a board of trustees which is supposed to be the conscience of the party to set things right. There is the neck of the party, there is a convention of the party to set things right. It does look like all of those structures are not working any longer. To the extent, Mr. Showumi, that a former governor and a sitting governor in a state are so much fighting in the public space and there is nobody to be able to come in between them and be able to mediate the fight, to the point that a sitting governor in your party is opting to go and conduct a local government election on the platform of another political party. Isn't this the highest political shame any political party can ever experience?
Have you landed?
Yeah, I'm asking my question now.
Now, thank you. The speed with which the instruction came vis-a-vis the new desire that all local governments should have elected representative, and that the federal government, via the judgment they got, have insisted that except elected local government, nobody is going to be paid. Necessity is the mother of invention. Our circumstances in Rivers does not leave much room, to be fair to similarly the governor of Rivers.
So you approve of him going to APP?
No. I said his own circumstances does not leave much room for clearly the party in Rivers relative to who has the structure, who is not the structure, is a bit a matter that is still a work in progress. And he must have been, I'm not his advocate, he must have been thinking of what could he do to prevent that, Armageddon happening. But look, listen, Rivers is not the only state in Nigeria that had a transfer of baton or even a successful succession planning. It seems to me that there is a peculiarity of the type of energy that the people of that environment carry. I mean, I listened to the governor of Rivers State similarly, and I'm beginning to smile. A couple of weeks ago, it seemed like someone who would not even talk or could not afford to fly or doesn't have anywhere, and suddenly the man is beginning to come out. And you can't ask me to say anything about former Governor Yusuf Wike, because there is nothing he says or nothing he has done that is not the representative of how he is. He has not sung any new song that he doesn't always sing when he was really the darling bird of PDP. He has not addressed the press in any other way other than how he has always been. He has the capability to speak his own truth. You don't have to agree. But you must be able to respect that whatever it is that he's saying is the truth as he sees it. So, and I want members of the media, you in particular, to understand that the People's Democratic Party of Nigeria, we have just done congresses all over this country. I can't remember the last time our rivals even said anything about such thing.
What, those NNPP?
No. APC, that was just like mushroom parties, really. You were struggling to keep to the principles of democracy. It's not a graveyard peace. People will have opinions, people go to court and all that. That's a kind of democratic Republican.
So you think PDP is better than the APC in terms of organization and administration? Even in the most disastrous situation of the party?
With due respect, the APC must be deceiving itself if it thinks that it's a political party. It may be in government. I haven't got a problem with that. It might be a special purpose vehicle for contesting an election. I don't have a problem with that. But it will be laughable for them to look at themselves and see how one person wakes up in the morning and throws away the chairman. They do a congress, somebody emerges, the next day in the morning, they order them to go and repeat. It's a gang of zombies. It is a conglomerate of zombies. I listened to the Senate president at the opening claiming that the APC Senate that he's leading is not a rubber stamp. Mr. Akpabio, you are not a rubber stamp. You are like a chihuahua that dances and waggles your tail for the president.
So what's that?
Do you know what a chihuahua is? A chihuahua is that very small dog that has a very small tail that rich women carry around, and it just waggles his tail. He's worse than a rubber stamp. You are members of this country. You knew when Bukola Saraki was in the Senate. Say what you will. At least we saw that the Senate occasionally had a pushback. Tell me, what has Akpabio ever had a pushback on? And I will use the event he went to today to make the point for him so that it will be clear to him.
So you don't think Akpabio's leadership in the Senate?
No. It's not about, when I say Akpabio, because it's the first among equal, I'm talking about the quality of their representation now. The President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, happy Independence Anniversary, had already, before clearance, sworn in the same CJN. Of course, because they don't understand the management of the bureaucracy of governance, somebody must have whispered to them, the man who doesn't sleep at night, please wake up, we have to go back to the Senate. Then he goes back to the Senate and then he does a second swearing in. Listen. I'm not here to waste saliva on their party. I feel that they are an embarrassment as a political party because they think they have the piece of the graveyard. We're politicians, we listen to ourselves, we talk to ourselves, and I have a feeling that when it implodes, that joke they are running, they're going to run helter-skelter.
You don't think that the kind of governance, because yesterday Mr. Felix Moka and I were having a conversation. Mr. Moka's perspective of how the APC government is running the affairs.
The government or the party?
The government and the party are running the affairs of this country is such that they just needed Nigerians to be patient, but they, according to him, they are doing everything right in the books and by the books, by Nigerians to do good for Nigerians. That's according to Mr. Moka.
So you're a student of history,
do you agree?
You're a student of history and a lawyer. You know what happened when the French Revolution was coming? Everybody that looked like Felix Moka and Akpabio in that government kept saying they're doing what they can, they're doing what they can. The most important thing that Felix Moka, Akpabio, the president, and all of them put together need to be looking at is just asking themselves in an imaginative manner, because their lives are so pampered, they cannot know the real feeling. Just to say that, how does that Ahmed in Katsina, one of the states I love most, how is he coping? Or if you don't want to stay with Ahmed, how does Nasiru in Imekwafon, how is he coping? And you know, the situation is so... I listened to, what's his name now? The man that has just gone to 20 billion naira refinery, Aliko Dangote, at an interview in America. And they were talking to him about whatever he was talking about with his industry and other. And he said that this is the right time for the federal government to remove subsidy. Sheung, my heart sank. And I said to myself, if we're buying it at way over 1,000 naira, and you are saying it's time for the federal government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu to remove subsidy, please, can somebody wake me up or wake him up from his not sleeping at night to ask him how much exactly would then be the cost of petrol if they're not cooking the books and stealing the money and pretending that they're paying subsidy that nobody knows who has appropriated.
So you don't think the government is transparent enough to the Nigerian people about the subsidy or the petroleum administration and its sales? Or the pricing?
For years, we kept saying to ourselves, our misery around petroleum and all that was that we don't have our own local refinery, right? Notwithstanding that we had 4, and they have been spending all our money claiming they are turning it around. And we all waited with held breath until Dangote refinery has come on stream. And now we have the sparkling, clean, new Dangote refinery, and suddenly there's confusion in the land as to what that is supposed to impact. So had we been living a life for the past 20 years, telling ourselves that if we had refinery, all would be well, and now we have the refinery, they're telling us stories. Okay. If they remove subsidy on day one, subsidy is gone, and the price kept moving and moving and moving and moving until we got to 1,000 plus now, and the man who will know and who should know, which is Aliko Dangote, because obviously he has immersed himself in that industry and he has done something phenomenal by building what they think an African cannot build. Thank God for that. If he now says on a platform in America, in a television, a serious-minded television program, and he's speaking to that issue and he's saying, this is the time now for the government to remove subsidy. Do you not pity our cousins at home?
Let me ask you a quick one.
Yes.
There are feelers that this government and this president is taking some of the hardest decisions. And in the words of Mr. Felix Moka, that past government have been kicking the can down the road. Everybody is pushing the evil day and not wanting to take the tough decision. That this president is taking the tough decision, but things are maybe tough now, but things will be better. Are you so pessimistic not to see it, what they are saying, or what exactly do you think is a reality?
Sure, I'm so optimistic that I even always say to people who ask me, and I'm saying it live and direct, that if Ashad Bola Ahmed Tinubu cannot figure out this thing, I wonder who can. So don't think that I'm being pessimistic. I'm thinking that, 1, he's confused. 2, he has no reason to be even smiling and the Mele Kyari, because some great explanation has to be made there. I don't understand what his CBN people are doing relative to the value of the currency. Are they telling me that by their own imagination of we'll float the currency, that means Nigeria's money will now become toilet paper? And if the challenge is that they have devalued us into misery, when will they stop? And okay, they don't know what they're doing. What exactly constitutes the science and the commerce of pricing of petroleum when you are refining in your country? Okay, have we created a 220, whatever our number is, citizens of Nigeria, so that Aliko Dangote and his friend Otedola and his friend Wale Tinubu and his friend and all of those friends can convert the Nigerian citizen into their lunch only because the people who have the responsibility to protect the citizen, the federal government, especially as Minister of Petroleum, seems to be lost in transit. Look, I have been reading a lot of books on how we can work around this pricing, and the research is still ongoing. When I'm done with it, I'll come up with something I think they can consider. But I just want to say to them, you cannot insist that your explanation to the people of Nigeria, now bordering on 16, if you like, 17 months by October, is that we are busy doing nothing. They do not have the luxury that they had in 2015. When they came in 2015, and Buhari could easily say, PDP did this, PDP did that. Whatever mess they are trying to create was the self-same mess that they themselves caused. Because as at the time His Excellency President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, our last president, was handing over this Nigerian economy to them, we paid 87 naira for petrol. We were changing our money at 199 naira to the dollar. We were buying a bag of rice at about 8,500. They were screaming that life was so hard, everybody's going to be hunky-dory.
But we're earning a lot in
So
revenue.
don't allow anybody to be giving you this unintelligent conversational argument.
I'm asking you a question.
Okay, and I'm not We were not. If you take the combined cost of price of petrol over the 1999 till the time we handed over, there were days it was as low as 17. Pricing of petrol has always been like a sinusoidal. And when you combine it together, average cost of it is the same. If you say that is their excuse, what is the excuse for unmitigated borrowings?
Let me ask you quickly one.
After all, they borrowed us into poverty. And let me quickly add this.
For example.
Let me add this. They sent the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to go to the United Nations. And such an elevated platform, the only thing he could do there is pull out his beggar bowl and be asking people and begging people for debt forgiveness when they are guzzling the debt and we're not able to measure the impact of the monies they are borrowing. The Nigerian people.
President Obasanjo begged for forgiveness.
No, Obasanjo did not start out from the one begging for forgiveness. He didn't go to the first United Nations Assembly to go and embarrass us. He went there to tell them that the biggest African country is now in a democracy and it is open for partnership.
Let me ask you real quick. If the president comes out tomorrow and dissolves his cabinet or changes his cabinet, would you be happy? Is the muted and hinted that will happen?
Let me tell you what oh God, this APC government of Bola Tinubu, I could cry. When a president puts together a cabinet all by himself and puts somebody to be in charge of key performance indicators over the couple of months, and finally makes up his mind that, okay, Miro, we're ready to change this cabinet. How did that become a matter of, oh, you guys go to television and radio and start lying through your teeth and be making up what you could not? Should the president not have evidence on his table based on his special advisor on key performance together? By now, he would have known this.
What if they have those?
Okay, why then do they like playing to the gallery as if they are in Nollywood? What's the theatrics about? If you want to dissolve your cabinet, you want to change them, you slam it. And then there's another danger in even this, we're going to dissolve. One of the fine men in this country who understands admin, who's been chief of staff, who's been minister, who's been governor, but Babatunde Raji Fashola SAN. One of these beautiful days when I had an opportunity to engage him, I was speaking to him about why is it like, and you know what he said to me? He said, Segun, if you change your cabinet at any point in time, they need, if they are sharp, they need about 3 months to even understand the bureaucracy of where they are being posted to. And probably another 3 months to begin to come up with something that can look like realistic visioning that they can put on the table. And for Ashadi Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that's what he said. I'm saying now, I'm adding this. And for Ashadi Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is known as a, you know what they call those micromanagers? They have to be the one to know everything. The companies have to be their people. Those who get what, do what is there. So I can guarantee you, if any minister has not performed in Bola Ahmed Tinubu's cabinet, that minister has not been given the wherewithal to perform. They choose their favorites. And their favorites have all the access. And the other ones just have to keep struggling and struggling and struggling. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Do you think you should keep some and allow some to go?
I don't have any interest in whatever he does.
But for the interest of the nation.
Let me tell you what he can do for the interest of the nation. As the president of Nigeria, I can come tomorrow morning and say, fellow Nigerians, I have failed you. I'm extremely sorry. Life is too hard. I need to go to the sunset. Number 2, do whatever you can with the country or create an interim national government so we can start all over again. Because it is that bad. If you at the head of the government is coming to tell us that your excuse for all our misery is that your workers whom you chose by yourself are not doing well, then what are you still doing in that office?
So you are not optimistic about this government's performance at all?
I have looked at the areas where I could have given them some good scores. I'm disappointed that they don't understand that there's a need for major investment in national orientation just to change people's attitude. I'm disappointed that whatever vision they say they are driving at, that vision is not a vision that is marketed to the people in a way that we all can be hopeful that we're building a skyscraper going somewhere. I'm disappointed that they can't even communicate the little things that they're doing. I get the fact that they like money so much, so they want to tax the people, they want to borrow more money, they want a lot of money that they're going to share to the 3 tiers of government without a commensurate capability to monitor it. Have you not seen a pattern in our country of late since they came on board? Right. The pattern is that once they do fake, the price of dollar goes high. Do I need a magician to tell them that they have created a gang of people who just loot us dry and expect us to be calm and happy and endure? And I thank the Nigerians for the endurance, because we're not going to destroy our country because of men that their time will be fleeting. And history will be the harshest judge for them. All right, what?
Mr. Segun, show me.
Are we done? We have never said anything.
We're done.
Why can we be done?
We need to get the APC side of this.
What about the side you gave them yesterday? You give them 2 for the price of 1.
They need to empower. They need to explain to Nigerians what they are doing with it.
Next time, you should bring him to be seated there. So I'm seated there so we can have a fighting match. If need be, we head up.
I can have him join you.
I'll be happy.
I'll be back, everyone, after this break. Mr. Felix Moka will be joining the conversation. We'll be back, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's do some State of the Nation conversation. I told you yesterday that Mr. Felix Moka will be back, and is back with us. Now, Mr. Segun Showumi is a spectator in this matter because Felix Moka, the APC spokesperson, is coming to let us know what exactly, why would Nigerians believe in this Bola Tinubu-led APC government with what they are facing in terms of the state of affairs of this country. Thank you so much, and welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
Yeah, I say you're a spectator because you've had it.
Only for some time.
Mr. Moka, and you heard what Mr. Ushomi said earlier. A lot of people will imagine that how can the APC tell Nigerians to be patient? Because you were inferring that yesterday, that in all of the indices of our economy, everything seems to be in the negative. Yet you want Nigerians to be patient. How much patience are you expecting from Nigerians?
Patience is what I expect. In a country such as ours, patriotism calls upon us in this moment to be patient, because the government of the current president has, I think, made clear and has rolled out very critical programs of policy interventions that are meant to tackle our national problems, especially our economic problems, at its roots. You know, now, government is a continuum. The former administration of President Buhari and the former National Assembly enacted the Petroleum Industry Act. And upon his inauguration, this president was constrained and mandated to implement what was already law in Nigeria, which is to take a subsidy, because, there was no provision made for that. Shehu, there are not many countries in the world that would have spent between debt servicing and the subsidy regime well over 90% of its revenue to make that happen. Don't get me wrong. It is a wonderful thing for citizens to be able to actually drive into filling stations and buy fuel at the least, possible price. That's wonderful. But over the years, our government, built the dependency that I think saw Nigerians enjoying that, access. But you know what? It came to a point, as it has come to, where the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria could no longer afford to, help Nigerians, gain access literally for nothing. And the government has said, you know what? Listen, we can't do this anymore, because continuing will continue to deprive us as a nation the capacity to actually grow our economy and build prosperity. Now, I think this point that I'm making is one that I think is without any kind of, controversy. Because my dear brother here, Shegun, and everyone else in his party, including his own 2023 presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, campaigned to Nigerians, to the same electorate that Bola Ahmed Tinubu campaigned to also remove the fuel subsidy, regime. It wasn't just the PDP. Labour Party did the same thing. And I think that both candidates, Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar, just like, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, also promised Nigerians in that campaign, that is just barely a year ago, to also float our currency, to remove the, multiple, foreign exchange system, which has hamstrung the country. So, my point is that, to begin with, in this conversation, we need to set that record straight so that our listeners can actually have a perspective to understand what is going on.
And I'm one person, I do a lot of policy conversation on this very desk every day. And in those 365 days of my life sitting here, there are critical issues. And as a human being, first as a human being, then a Nigerian, then a journalist, I also wear a hat to say I'm equally a father. I have responsibility to family. And I also need to be professional, be patriotic. So in analyzing these issues, one needs to also understand that, you need to give people a chance when they get into office. But the fear is this, Mr. Moka. And if you would like, I can reel out all the economic indicators. Your government got into office, and you're speaking tonight to us as though it was PDP that handed over power to an APC government about over a year ago. It was an APC-led government for 8 years, handed over to an APC government. And those who will say the Buhari government set Nigeria back by 20 years, economically speaking. Mr. Moka, our inflation rate, 34%. Food inflation, 37%. Unemployment rate. Do you know what they say? 28 years. It hasn't been that bad for some of these indicators. Mr. Moka, it's so bad that we have never seen in the life of me that our exchange rate has gone this bad. Indicators of our economy, all of it that you can think of, are in the red, in the negative. If your government or your party is being handed over a government, and in 1 year, it has been messed up in this much, how do you explain to the Nigerian people?
So, first of all, in your question lies the answer. Hysteria. You have just framed a question that relies on, a self-eating hysteria to provoke my answer, but I will answer you. Now, the Buhari administration did nothing in 8 years but to clean and mop up the mess.
Okay.
And the... Oh, please, don't interrupt me. You'll get your turn.
Thank you.
To mop up the mess made by the PDP. Because, you know, what Nigerians don't realize is that the PDP operated a phantom economy.
I thought it was the Buhari government that messed up this economy.
Please hang on. Look, you asked me a question. I'm answering you. And please listen to me. The PDP government created and operated a phantom economy where billions and billions of dollars and naira were awarded and thrown around for national, declared national projects that were never done as such. All of the monies that were simply, rolled out into private pockets. Now, don't forget, when Buhari came in, we had a moment where a lot of information, you did a lot of shows here about the scourge that the PDP had actually, inflicted on this country. Now, listen, what I'm saying is I don't like to look back. If you know, in my conversations with you, I'm a forward-looking person. But if you choose to actually ask that question and you demand an answer from me, then I will tell you that the mess that we're dealing with today was not constructed today. It was constructed generationally. And that generation, the owners and the perpetrators of the heinous, abominable crimes against this country were, manufactured, constructed, and delivered by the PDP in 16 years. So Buhari, just a moment, Buhari was simply an intervenor government that simply came to hold place and, really make sense and hold Nigeria away from the precipice. Now, the Tinubu administration has been inaugurated barely a year ago. And the Segun Shewumi, my brother of this world, will not even let that government think, let alone execute programs that are meant to build upon the foundations that the Buhari administration had laid in order for Nigeria to begin to climb out of this hole that we've been sunk in for a very long time. Because there's nothing you're going to tell me, Sheung, about our problems today that were not constructed generationally. How do you explain 64 years of a country on one product selling crude oil, not done anything? That was not Buhari's fault necessarily. It wasn't Tinubu's fault necessarily.
Yeah, primarily not productive.
It is the fault of Nigeria and those who govern Nigeria before today, especially 16 years of the PDP. Look, Mr. Shewumi, please calm down. You will get your turn. And when you talk, I'm going to be quiet. Because your comments are distracting me.
I've not made any comments.
No, my gesticulation. Your gesticulation.
Thank you.
So hold your gesticulation.
I can borrow you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
My gesticulation.
But look, to come back to this conversation, the point I'm making is that, there's no such thing as a straight line in the life of a country. Families, my family, your family, my brother's family here, if and when it becomes imperative to make critical adjustments, they have to be made. Maybe I'm going to cut off some ice cream for my kids if I know I can't afford it today. Doesn't mean they will never have ice cream. They may actually begin to buy ice cream factories when the economic moment and when the opportune moment actually becomes. I am saying to you today, and let me say this before I think you take over. I will tell you that this president has begun with Nigeria to set Nigeria on a path that will. Today, I sit here and I'm going to say this. And I think that a few years from now, bring Mr. Shewumi and I back here. Okay. Mr. Shewumi will testify that this president will be, after, in the fullness of his tenure, will be about, if not the most accomplished president in the history of our country. Because he is not, like I said, kicking the can to the next president. He's saying, you know what, this problem will be solved on my watch. That's what he's doing. So all of what you're seeing, the momentary transient difficulties, are part of the organized, interventions. And it will deliver a more prosperous country for all of us.
Quickly, before I bring Mr. Shewumi, without conceding to what you have said about what has happened in the past, our Buhari government, because I would not agree with you on the life of me that Buhari government did anything substantially creative when it comes to the Nigerian economy. They've done some of the worst things, and I can reel out indicators. The facts are there. But we are in the present, in the moment, and let's talk about the moment. This president has said, leave me to it. I begged for this job. I wanted this job, and we get the job done. The problem here is that when things are astronomically changing in the negative, what do you expect Nigerians to do? Yes, things are tough momentarily, but they are getting tougher in the percentage that are astronomical. And the fear for those who love this country is that if we are not careful, we will sleep, wake up, and there won't be any nation.
We won't, Shewon. We won't.
What assurance do you have?
No,
Did you ever expect, Mr. Moka, that dollar will exchange for 1,600 naira in Nigeria 2 years ago? Did you ever expect?
Yes.
Did you ever expect that we're going to buy fuel at over 1,000 naira?
Listen.
Those are some of the fears that people have today.
Listen, it's not complicated. You know, anybody who has basic, elementary knowledge of economics knows. If I say that this phone, my two phones, that I'm going to sell them for, 50,000 naira today. These are iPhones, right? If I want to sell them for 50,000 naira today, anybody here who has 50K will buy it from me, right? Is that the value of my phone? No, it's not. I decided, by whatever reason, to sell my phones for 50,000 naira. So anybody who has that money can pay. Look, the fact that over the years, we intentionally, as a matter of state policy, fixed and pegged the value of our currency, it has nothing to do with the real value of the currency. If this government today wants to be populist and decide, you know what, we're done. Shewon has said that, the indicators are actually awful. Therefore, starting today, I hereby decree that Naira is going to exchange, for 20 Naira to $1. You know what, actually, that decree, if it's properly legally instrumented, will actually happen. Everybody will go buy $1 at 20 Naira. But does that mean that that becomes the value of the currency? You see, when you artificially set the value of the currency, you actually depress the economy. And over the years, what we've had is that all of the governments before this president depressed our economy by their failure to allow economics and fundamentals of the marketplace to govern and regulate our economy. That's why we're in this trouble. Because over the years, we created this.
So we should be hopeful that Tinubu will fix Nigeria.
I said already that this president not only will fix this, will, demonstrate that he means business by showing massive improvement in the long term for our country in a sustainable fashion, in a way that actually speaks to, I think, his commitment and the commitment of, of our party.
Mr. Shewumi has been groaning in pain.
Yes, he's been
itching to respond to you. You have some responses, isn't it?
You know the story of the Huff and Puff big bad wolf? Okay, there's a big bad wolf that anytime he wants to bring fire, he usually huff and puff, but this time around there's no fire. First of all, he doesn't even understand the concept of currency relative to national stability. I can borrow you a few books. There have always been two arguments in the currency world where those who say you float the currency expecting the market forces to help you bring it to equilibrium. And there are those who will say no, the market force itself is so unpredictable, irresponsible, and Shylock-like, you are going to end up dollarizing your economy, which you have no reason to be doing. And that once you do it, you're going to still eventually come back asking yourself, how low must your currency fall? It's a big topic. Shewon, next time when you talk to me, address me as doctor. I'll talk to him on that. They don't know what they're doing. In terms of inflation, ask him, what is the reason why inflation is this heavy now? I can tell you on behalf of the people that can use it. When the last administration of Buhari, whom they love to convert into their scapegoat, tried to muff out money from circulation by changing the currency, the huff and puff and huff and puff until we became a nation that is having two legal tenders, having different colors, running the economy at the same time. When you create too much naira within an economy that people are very corrupt, and those who have access to this huge money will find clever ways to go to the dollar market, they're going to put pressure on it. That's that. Again, my brother doesn't really understand what we're talking about when we say nations are in pain. This country called Nigeria has never...
Just a moment. Your mic dropped off.
Did it?
Yeah, so we're going to fix it. Just calm down. Just a moment. Mr. Moka, you heard what Mr. showed me, just as we're fixing that. How do you defend in all of these some of the things that your party is doing and the phase of what we're experiencing? And according to Mr. Shomi, it doesn't look like your government of the APC understand the handling of the state of affairs.
No, that's very cheap shot. You know, you can say, I can say you don't even know what you're doing, sitting here moderating this program. But that I say it doesn't mean, you know, that's true. Mr. Shomi, you know, wants to speak. He wants to speak to the air. And that's what he's doing. You know, that's his democratic right to say, you know, a lot that speaks to nothing. Fact is, there is no country that has made progress in this world where the currency is, you know, really in a dictatorial fashion, just set arbitrarily. You can do that and, you know, get away with it. But if you're going to do that, you better have a production base that is able to rally and spew production to the point where, you know, the market and those who buy or sell to it are overwhelmed by the forces that you unleash into the marketplace. You know, we only have one, you know, force, one tiny force. That's actually the crude oil force, where in fact, we don't even control the price of crude oil. We're simply passive, you know, takers of whatever the market offers to us based on the vagaries, all of the unpredictable circumstances globally. If there's war in Ukraine, you know, Russia is, you know, throwing these bombs, prices are affected. Right. Now, you know, in Lebanon with Israel and, you know, what's going on in the Middle East is also affected. We don't control that. So I think that when you set your currency value in that context, you're simply inviting people to move away rather than move into your economy.
Mr. Shomi, we have just a few seconds.
Yeah, in 1973, so that you know it's not just huffing and puffing, Indonesia, Germany, and a few other countries opted to not follow England, United States, and France on this argument of flotation of the currency. By 1978, the economic experiment came full circle. Guess what? Those who did not devalue their currency were still the ones that had the largest and the most resilient deposit that can fund production. Point number one. Point number two. These people are so incompetent. If you want to grow your manufacturing sector, you can't be slamming them with high tariff, slamming them with high cost of energy, slamming them with high cost of electricity, slamming them with taxes. Where do you even expect them to have that way
out of time,
to grow?
We're out of time. I mean,
of course,
16 years. What sector do you grow? You grew nothing.
It's too late. No, you see, don't worry. When next we're together, I'll take you through our 16 years.
You know what some people are asking?
What are they saying?
They're asking me for an extension of time here.
Yes.
Give us an extension of time.
But there's no opportunity.
It's beyond my pay grade. So, but what we'll do...
That's their 16 years argument. We'll have it next time.
Debate right on this program, right after Independence celebration.
You should bring somebody else to back him up. Bring somebody else.
No.
No, what do I mean by that? You wouldn't know what you're talking about in the real sense.
Don't like that. That's not.